The library is a magical but underutilised and underappreciated service in our society. It's a place where you can find comfort, adventure, and yourself. But we live in a society obsessed with shiny, new aesthetic things, and pre-read books wrapped in plastic don't make the cut. I'm on a mission to reduce my carbon footprint and overconsumption and support my local community by making the most of this wonderful service available to me. Welcome to the Library Diaries.
Hey everyone, it's Fionn and welcome back to my channel, Chanel, and welcome to episode 8 of the Library Diaries. In case you're not familiar, what I do in these videos is random number generate a book from my very long list of books I'd like to get my hands on, see if it's available at my library. If necessary, repeat this process until I find one that is, then go get it and read it in this video. So I have got random number generator here. I'm going to put in 1 to 471 because that's how many books are on the list right now, and generate, wait, let's get a screen record happening. $145. Then I go to my list and see what that book is. The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie O. Oops. So I'm going to end the recording, have a look on the library catalogue, see if it's available. It's only available in hardback. Not a fan of that. Okay, I'm going to generate one more time, see if I can get a book that's in paperback. If not, I am going to go for this one, but if I can, I might break the rules just a little bit and see. Just because I don't love that outcome. Generate. 123 in the 100s today. The Mystery for the Future by Kim Stanley Robinson. Okay, I do believe that's a non-fiction, which is a very different vibe. It's in paperback. Okay, so here's my plan. I'm going to go to the library, see how big the hardback is for The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. If it feels acceptable, I'm going to get it. If it doesn't, I'm going to get this book instead, The Ministry for the Future by Kim Stanley Robinson, and the description says, established in 2025, the purpose of the new organisation was simple, to advocate... Oh, this isn't non-fiction. To advocate for the world's future generations and to protect all living creatures, present and future. It soon became known as the Ministry for the Future, and this is its story. From legendary science fiction author Kim Stanley Robinson comes a vision of climate change unlike any ever imagined. Told entirely through fictional eyewitness accounts, the Ministry for the Future is a masterpiece of the imagination, the story of how climate change will affect us all over the decades to come. That actually sounds excellent. I want to look up what the Storygraph average rating is for that. 3.84, not amazing. What about the other one? 4.06. Okay, the ratings are a lot better for that. I am now going to read the synopsis for The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea, which is by Axie O. Deadly storms have ravaged Mina's homeland for generations. Floods sweep away entire villages while bloody wars are waged over the few remaining resources. Her people believe the sea god, once their protector, now curses them with death and despair. In an attempt to appease him, each year a beautiful maiden is thrown into the sea to serve as the sea god's bride, in the hopes that one day the true bride will be chosen and end the suffering. Many believe that Shim Chong, the most beautiful girl in the village and the beloved of Mina's older brother June, may be the legendary true bride. But on the night Chong is to be sacrificed, June follows Chong out to sea, even knowing that to interfere is a death sentence. To save her brother, Mina throws herself into the water in Chong's stead. Okay, I feel somewhat interested in both of those, which I should because they're both on my list for a reason, but sometimes I find I add them and then when I look back I'm like, not sure that's really my thing, but sometimes it was a recommendation from someone who, although it wasn't really my thing, made me believe it was worth picking up. I can't remember where those suggestions came from, but they're on the list. So let's go to the library and have a look. Okay, so funny thing, I picked up both But we just need to talk about my fleece for a minute because it's quite possibly the most fantastic item of clothing I've ever owned. For one, look at it. What a wonderful design. But two, I walked into town with my 2 library books and my book in case I wanted to stop and read, which I didn't end up doing. Ended up getting a couple of toys for my niece or nephew who is about to be born. So you may think, oh, cool, nothing else in there. Wrong. My current read and the 2 books. Are these not the best pockets you've ever seen in your entire life? Amazing. But yes, I did pick up both of the books. The hardback is bigger than I would like, but I had a quick look inside and the text looks pretty big and well spaced out. And it was in the young teenage section, like age 13 to 14 max. So I think it's going to be pretty digestible and quick to read, so hopefully it's not too bad. The Ministry of Time, on the other hand, almost 600 pages long, and the text is tiny. So when I get to this one, it's going to be probably slow progress, but yeah, there we are. Books acquired. So I'd kind of fell into a bit of a reading slump since I picked these books up. I was deep into a couple of crochet projects, and the books I was reading, I didn't feel pulled to read them. However, I logged onto my library app the other day and saw that there was a note saying that this book could not be renewed because somebody else had put a hold on it, which I'm not sure how I feel about that, because surely if I'm the one in possession of the book right now, I kind of get the priority over someone who'd like to read it next. But clearly the library doesn't think that way. So where I thought I was going to have a few more opportunities to renew this and get to it when I got to it, it wasn't the case, and I've had to start it. So I'm now halfway through. I'm kind of happy because it kind of jump-started me back into reading again after a few weeks of not feeling interested in it. So yeah, I have had to just put the other book on pause though while I'm reading this one, but that's fine. I am about halfway through, almost halfway, and it's giving fine. The end. So we are following Mina, who comes from a small village which is cursed by a sea god, and this sea god put this curse on the village over 100 years ago, and every year there's a big storm. The storms start and it's really devastating for the community. So each year this is the part that I'm confused about. Someone from the country, as in the country they live in, not the countryside, a girl is sacrificed to be plunged into the sea to be sacrificed as the sea god's bride. And the hope is that one of these brides will end up being the sea god's true bride and true love, and they'll all live happily ever after, and he will lift the curse through this very impractical method of sifting through one girl per year. But what I'm confused by is I feel like it's just the village that's cursed, but then the girls are coming from all over the country. So I don't know if I've just misunderstood that. This book is YA, and it's a young YA. I think it's 11 to 14. It's reading pretty fast, It's quite simple in that the language and the sentence structure is quite simple, but I am kind of confused by who some of the characters are and the lore, as in Lore. But I don't know if that's just because I'm not that interested that my mind's been kind of wandering and I've not really been taking it in, or if it is a little bit confusing. I'm not sure. I think I could quite happily at this point just put this down and never pick it up again, and I don't think I would feel unsatisfied, but I am going to keep going for the time being. It's reading, like I said, pretty fast. The font is large. Probably got another like 3 hours to read of this, so yeah. Whatever happens, it needs to be returned by Sunday, and most of the libraries are closed on a Sunday, so ideally Friday. But there is one library where I could take it over the weekend. So yeah. Nice cover though, isn't it? Let's get back to reading. The Ministry for the Future. Where am I at? 128 pages through, and I'm enjoying it. I think originally, like at the very start, I really liked the writing style. I just felt like I got into it really fast. I'm feeling a little bit less positive about that now, the further I am through. Just, there's lots of different perspectives. The chapters in this book are really quite short, so there's lots of chapters, and they move between perspectives. You don't always find out whose perspective it is until like halfway through the chapter, and then it will say, and she said to me, Mary, what do you think of this? And then I'm like, oh, this must be Mary's perspective then. And it's not always clear, but I do still think that generally the points are getting across. Some of the chapter formats I don't like, so that's the other thing. It's not just different perspectives, but different like formats of the way they're written. Some of them are like conversations. There was one chapter I really didn't like, when it's literally just name, colon, and then something they said. And I didn't have a clue what was going on in that chapter. And I just didn't like it. It felt clunky. And then interspersed with that, there's chapters every now and then that are addressing us as the reader, and it's explaining the science or the politics behind something, which is useful, but some of it is going over my head. There was a whole chapter about glaciers, not my area of expertise in any way. So yes, it is good that they're explaining these things, but sometimes it's just like, I don't know what you're talking about. The font is tiny. The font is teeny tiny, and it's over 500 pages long. I am in my final uni deadline week this week, so as much as I want it to be, reading is just not a priority right now, so it's a little bit slow progress, but that's fine. I am getting through it, and on the whole I am enjoying it. Oh, should I tell you a bit what it's about? Basically, the opening chapter, we're following this guy Frank, who is, I think he's a doctor, and he's working in India to offer support, medical support, and there's a massive heat wave which kills loads of people. And so the whole book is centered around the climate crisis, how we're destroying the planet as a society, and how certain countries are more responsible for that, but then they don't feel the consequences as much as other countries who are not damaging the world as much, but they suffer the consequences more. And it is written from a really interesting moral standpoint, and I'm enjoying it. I'm really passionate about climate change and the climate crisis. So yeah, I do think it's going to be a good one. Slowly making progress. I am going to go outside and read. No, I'm not. I'm about to go outside and do a yoga. I'm sweaty, I'm covered in sun cream, but the sun is shining. Then I'm going to come back in, shower, do more uni work, and hopefully I'll get to some reading at some point today. I'm DNFing. And I have really mixed feelings about it because I want to carry on. The tagline here says, a novel that presents a rousing vision of how we might unite to overcome the greatest challenge of our time. And I want to read about that, but I just don't feel like I'm reading about that. We're almost halfway through. I feel there's no indication of that happening anytime soon. And I'm just like, last night I was reading, I read a whole page, got to the bottom and realised I'd been thinking about completely different things. And then at that point, I've read all the words, but I have read nothing. And at that point I didn't even think, yeah, I'm gonna go back and reread that. I just wasn't bothered. I just carried on and thought, well, hopefully it'll make sense. And that's happening quite often. Or sometimes I am taking it in and then I'm getting to the end of it and rolling my eyes. Not a good sign. I want to read it, but I don't, and I've been thinking about DNFing it for the past 100 pages. It's telling me that it's not for me. I think the chapters are so varied, which is wonderful, but a lot of the varieties aren't for me. There's one plot line that I am really interested in, which is about Frank, which is what the opening chapter is about. That storyline I am interested in, but so many of the others, like, that doesn't come up very often, and then it's filled in with other bits that I'm just not that bothered by. Again, I'm in the middle of a large chapter about glaciers. Like, they just listed the 74 glaciers in the Antarctic. That's not interesting to me. And I think there's a lot of personality into the chapters. Like, they feel that is really interesting to someone, okay? That is one person's very special interest, but it's not mine. And I really commend the way he's put that personality into the chapters, but I'm not loving it. So for those reasons, yes, I've decided to DNF. Like I said, I have mixed feelings about it because I don't know. For one thing, it's mid-June. I am trying to read 30 books in 30 days this June. So there's a voice in the back of my mind saying, you're only DNFing this because you're worried that you're not gonna read 30 books. And this is taking a long time. It's not a quick read. But I don't think that's true. I don't think that's the case. I think it is everything that I've just said. Like, if I'm not enjoying a book, I'm not enjoying it. Interestingly, I had a conversation with a friend just recently who tends to get a lot more 4 and 5 star reads than me, and she was saying, Fee, it's so sad you have so many lower rated books and so many DNFs. But to me, that's part of the fun. I like branching out and reading really random different things, and finding out if I like them. On this occasion, I didn't, but it has got me thinking. Like, I've still taken things from this book, and I want to try and read more books kind of like this, but just not this exact one. And I think that's okay. I think that's a positive. This just isn't the one. Great flop though, I have to say that. Yeah. It's not worth me holding on to. I am interested in what might happen at the end, but I'm also skeptical that it's going to be presented in a way. Oh yeah, and that's another thing. So there's another part of me that's like, you say you care about climate crisis, but you don't want to read this book. That must mean you're a fraud. But the thing is, I can care about the content of something without enjoying the way that it's presented. And I think this is a case of that. So, ramble over. I'm DNFing. Not the most interesting episode, 2 books that I haven't really loved, but that's okay. That is the way it goes sometimes. And that is really reflective of my personal reading experience for all the reasons that I just said. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. I hope you have a great day.